Morning, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is about to begin. If you could please silence your cell phones at this time, it would be appreciated. I'd like to ask everybody to please stand for the national anthem. Now be seated. Morning, everybody. My name is Ron Flenner, and I'm the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs here at EVMS, and it's my genuine pleasure to welcome you today and our guests here in person, as well as the friends and families, the live stream individuals for today's EVMS Class of 2021 Military Commissioning and Recognition Ceremony. I'd like to begin by introducing our distinguished guests who are seated behind me. Far right is Dr. Richard Holman, President and Provost of EVMS and Dean of the School of Medicine. Next is our guest speaker, Colonel Helen Rebecca Johnson, MD, retired United States Army and EVMS MD class of 1991. On my far left is Dr. Richard Conran, Colonel, retired Medical Corps United States Army, Professor and Chairman, EVMS Pathology and Anatomy, and EVMS MilMed Club Advisor. Next to him is Dr. Brooke Hooper, Assistant Vice Dean for Clinical Education at EVMS and Lieutenant Commander, retired United States Navy. Next, we have Dr. Brian Martin, Associate Dean of Administration for the School of Health Professions and Director, Master of Public Health Program. And next is Dr. Kim Dempsey, Director of the Physician Assistant Program. We're honored to have each of you here today to participate in the ceremony. But at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Holman to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Flenner, and thank everyone for being here and welcome this morning. Good morning. It's great to see everyone in person for a change. Okay, it's nice to celebrate instead of having another Zoom meeting. I'm the President, Provost, and Dean of the School of Medicine. I'm here to congratulate all of you on behalf of all of our faculty and staff here at EVMS. This is a really special time to be able to celebrate your accomplishments and have your families here too, to be able to demonstrate how proud they are of your accomplishments as well. As you may know, here in Hampton Roads has a large military presence. We have over 18 military installations, including 2 joint bases, and all 4 branches of the military and the Coast Guard, and approximately 125,000 active duty, reserve, and civilian personnel are in this region. And for that reason, we have a very strong interest in supporting those that go into military service here at EVMS. We are so proud of the fact that the world's largest Navy base is here. We are also proud of the Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, and Marine presence in our region, and welcome all of the military personnel and their families that are here today. And as such, I would like to recognize all of today's in-person attendees who are past or present military members, would you please stand so we can recognize your service? For those watching as well, we'd like to thank them for their service as well. Only 3 branches of the Medical Corps, United States Army, Air Force, and Navy have medical corps. In today's ceremony, we're recognizing 19 students, 11 in the School of Medicine, 5 physician assistants, and 3 students in public health. I think it's one of the largest classes in my memory that we've had for EVMS. While only some of you we're going to be officially commissioned today. Some of you will begin the commission at a future date. We're equally proud of all of our military graduates and are pleased that you could participate today. Here at EVMS, we take great pride in being an institution that values the community. Our vision is to be the most community-oriented schools of medicine and health professions in the country. And as such, our students have an obligation to be able to serve the community, not only the patients they serve, the populations they serve, but the communities they serve. And you in your service in the military is extraordinary. In many ways, you are entering the most noble professions in the health profession, in medicine, public health, and as a physician assistant. And you're in the most noble field of those professions, saving lives of our warriors on the field. And for that, we can't thank you enough for your service, your courage, your leadership, and your future practice over time. So in that context, we want to congratulate all of you, and on behalf of all of our faculty and staff, thank you individually and collectively for the enormous success you've had over the past several years, and we look forward to welcoming you to come back as alumni in the coming years as well.
Thank you, Dr. Newman. Hello, it is my distinguished honor to be here today to present our distinguished keynote speaker, Colonel Helen Rebecca Johnson, MD, retired, United States Army, an EVMS class of 1991. We all know that EVMS graduates often go on to accomplish great things in careers, and Colonel Johnson is no exception. Since graduating from EVMS, she has treated military personnel at military facilities across the world, has received numerous military accolades, and remains committed to educating medical and health profession students in the Mid-Atlantic region. Please join me in welcoming Dean Keynote Speaker today, Colonel Helen Johnson.
This happened. It was before retirement, too. Good morning. It's just an honor to be here. Unprecedented to be here. Distinguished guests, Dr. Helen, Dr. Flenner, Dempsey, is Dr. Martin, esteemed retired armed service colleagues, and you, the class of 2021 Eastern Virginia Medical Schools graduates, and your families and your friends who are here presently and also viewing far. I am honored and I'm actually deeply humbled to have been afforded the opportunity. I want you to pay attention to some words today, and that's one of them. To have been afforded the opportunity to speak to you, and thank you, Dr. Go, for those kind words and introductions. It is a true blessing to be here. I did have a full tank of gas, so that was unprecedented. The pandemic was unprecedented, and we're still here. We were supposed to do this last year, and they asked me to come back because we had to cancel. So again, another unprecedented. They remembered me. So again, I'm honored to be here and deeply humbled. to honor you and to celebrate actually you, your graduation achievement, and hopefully to inspire you. And as you taking your oath of office, you are committing yourself to one of 7 and possibly 8, if we've added the Space Force, Space Command, to one of the 7/8 uniformed services. Know that as you dedicate your life to the public health and safety of our citizens, serving in the uniform will be one of your highest honors. Now, how did you get here? Your families and friends know, but I wanted to share a little bit about statistics. Your journey had some predictable milestones, and you have predictable requirements, the MCATs, GPAs, tuition. Yet you all were faced with some statistical odds. Of the high school graduates, 63% pursue college. Of the college graduates, 21% pursue a master's degree. And then of those, 4.4% pursue a doctorate degree. Well, the data becomes even more daunting for those pursuing a medical degree. This is data from 2019. Just heard some data today for this year's class for EVMS. But for the nation, only 41% of applicants who apply to medical school were accepted. And the odds got better if you applied to 15 medical schools. So, with all that mathematical perspective, your ability to actually gain acceptance into one of these esteemed schools at EVMS, whether it was your Master's of Public Health, the Physician Assistant School, the Doctor of Medicine, was an arduous and statistically complex process. So, congratulations. So it's no secret that each and every one of you worked tirelessly, often sacrificing, planning, and pursuing your team. During this time, you often probably relied on your family, your friends, your faith, potentially. I would call these your second word to remember. And these are not orders. Even though I'm wearing the uniform, this is not an order. I'm just giving you some advice. Opportunities and connections. These are your connections that have brought you here today to sustain you through your highs and your lows. And through all your work, you actually developed a resiliency, and including these unprecedented times and this educational demands and not being able to see patients. Just amazing, the resiliency that you've achieved. And you rose above and you met all these requirements. Now, when I was sitting here 30 years ago, I was blindly taking the oath. And that, what I mean by that is that I really didn't know what getting myself into. So let me see a show of hands. Do you all know what you're getting into? Anybody with me? Yes, so what lies ahead? Upon taking the oath of office, I'm going to let you know a couple of things that I wish I had known when I was sitting there. The most important thing to remember today is that when you accept the oath of office, you have become a member of the uniformed service. While this is not a country club membership, this membership offers incredible adventures with many benefits. Now, let me go back to my mathematical perspective. Only 1% of our nation volunteers. So thank you for volunteering. You have just become a member of the 1% club. So thank you again. Now, what is most important to understand about moving forward is that you have predictable paths and predictable requirements prior to here. I can guarantee you that the world will be less predictable more requirements, quite certainly more uncertain. And yet it will be very challenging and very exciting and likely unmatched to any career your civilian colleagues will see. Likely. Can't say that that's true all the time, but likely. So let's talk about some of those opportunities. There's that word again, opportunity. There'll be an opportunity, Navy Corps, to serve on a ship. As a medical officer, you will be it as the medical officer for those men and women on that. Or you may be serving in the air wing as the senior medical officer. You may be the senior leader on these public task force, dealing with the policies that we're coping with today with the pandemic and other policies that are going to come forth. You might be a physician assistant. I know this might be a little bit fearful, but physician assistants, you know where they go? They go with the family medicine docs. But they actually go a little bit further. They go further into the field with the medics. And they serve and sustain all the soldiers that are out there fighting in the force. And this is what we call a forward operating base. You're going to be receiving the injured and ill from the battlefield. You're going to be triaging them. You're going to be stabilizing them. And you're going to be moving them to a higher echelon of care. And the statistic for this war, for the lives that we lost, was 4,000. For the injured and ill, it was 40,000. So that's how many you will impact when you're serving in the forward operating unit. You will also be leaders and trainers. You will be trained, and I will liken it to tying your shoe. You will be trained crises. And you will not know that you're actually handling it. It's like tying a shoe. Once you learned it, you learned it. So it will come second nature to you to manage crises. And you will be a calm force and a steadfast force, consummate professional, while you're serving in these unprecedented times or in these hostile environments, oftentimes in austere environments. So these are exciting opportunities that are waiting for you. Now, these can be based on your personal choices, but also we have to remember there's a mission at hand. So it may not be your choice at all. But they will be life-changing events. So enjoy the adventure. Now, whether your tour is short, one and done, or your tour is long, I wanted to give some advice to you. This is very important advice that I wish I had had, again, when I was sitting here. A short tour, you're still part of the 1% club. Once a warrior, always a warrior. Once a Marine, always a Marine, okay? Still part of it. Thank you. But those folks with the short tour, please don't resign your commission. That was probably the best advice that I received when I left my active duty tour. Left and said, I'm not coming back. Finished my 9 years commitment. HPSB students out there, right? And I moved on. And then Twin Towers came down, and the mission at hand was everybody back. So thankfully, I did not resign my commission. I went into an inactive mode unbeknownst to me. I went in this inactive mode, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden they said, come back and serve. And guess what? I did not lose rank, and I did not lose time. I started as if I had left with 9 years of service in the same rank. If you resign your commission, just know that that's lost. You will have to start all over again. So put that in the back of your mind as you move through your career. For those who are pursuing a long career, and maybe my colleagues will think differently, but I think you should find a niche. It's one thing to be a physician or physician assistant or masters of public health, but it's another thing to be an aviator or a diver or a special ops or even a policy person, which is where I ended up going. That niche helps you become a valuable asset. It helps you actually move forward with your career, and you will end up being a subject matter expert. Is not only what your graduate degree is in, but as an officer and of that niche. So I would encourage you to find that. So with great power comes great responsibility. It is important to understand the significant impact your words and your actions will have, whether at the individual level, at the community level, or at the national level while you're serving as an officer. So no matter what the challenge, be creative, think outside the box and rise above, and know that all people matter. So I'm encouraging you to do your best to leave a professional, kind, and loving impact on everyone and everything you encounter. The uniformed service is also doing the same. They're doing their very best to impact you. They understand that people matter. And over the years, they have revised and developed policies in the medical, the personnel, advancement, and career in order to recruit and retain you. It has been an awe-inspiring opportunity to witness and benefit and also be a part of these policies. So for the ladies out there, you can wear a ponytail in the Army now. For the ladies out there who get pregnant, you will not have to serve in a deployed environment for a year now. So these are the policies that they're coming forth to be a kinder, gentler uniformed services because they know that people matter and they want to recruit and retain you. So I just ran through an acronym that you might not have figured out. So I'm going to tell you what that acronym was. So I said the word member, said the word opportunity, and I said the word understand impact. So that's your MOU. And I would encourage you to adopt what I call the memorandum of understanding. That's your memorandum of understanding today. I charge you to take the oath and understand that that's your memorandum of understanding as you're taking that oath. You're becoming a member, you're going to seize the opportunities, and you're going to understand your impact, the power of your responsibility. Now, how are you going to do this? What tools do you have in your back pocket? We talked about a few of them, but I want to talk about two. Your connections, you've heard that word already, and time. So let's talk about connections. The first one is this miraculous connection that you have with your family, your friend, and your faith. The next is your miraculous connection to this family, to the EVMS family. They provided you. I can share with you. I didn't survive on my own. I survived with the rigorous curriculum, the supportive faculty and the staff, and the wonderful camaraderie of the students. This was a miraculous connection to get me through. You can be confident that Eastern Virginia Medical School has prepared you well for your journey through those unknown territories, whether it's water, air, space, or land. So do your best to preserve those connections, okay? The other very important thing to do about those connections, thank them. Every other opportunity you can, thank them. Whether it's just saying thank you or offering a gift, do whatever you can. That's a life-changing event for some folks. Now let's talk about respecting time. And I don't mean it by respecting our time, we need to hurry up and get her off the podium. I want to talk about a moment in time. There is a wonderful book that Daniel H. Pink wrote, and it's called When: The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. So in this, you will understand that timing of the moment is important. So we were just talking about how you all have already been thrown into the bathwater with this pandemic. This is what a crisis looks like. This is crisis management. So trust that you will have the right people in the right place at the right time to support you with your decisions regarding your opportunities. I would encourage you to be aware there's a reason for each significant moment in your life. Take 24 hours to think about it before you make a decision. Really important to think about that moment in time, take 24 hours, and then respond and act mindfully. And finally, this last word is listen. So speak less, listen more. I would challenge you to consider changing the word chief complaint. Has that occurred yet? Doctors, you go out there and say, what's, the chief complaint on the HPI? It hasn't changed, has it? So I say, what's your chief concern today? Doesn't that twist it around a little bit? It just throws a very good spin. What is your chief concern today? And then pay attention to the frustration, your internal frustrations and those that are before you. Okay? Now, why would you want to pay attention to the frustrations? Because actually they're the root cause of the problem at hand, the concern at hand. Okay? So let me give you an example. I was in a community health center. I understood Spanish, and this lady comes in with her husband who's 30. And the frustration and the anxiety were overwhelming. And I listened. I didn't understand Spanish, but I listened to her body language. I listened to her angst. And her husband was declining in health rapidly. He was becoming an infant. And all I knew was to listen. And after she was done, I asked the interpreter, I said, let her know that I heard every word she said. And we are going to do our best to get her husband care. He was told by a neurologist that he had the pork swine disease and that he would not be cured. All I promised her was that I would listen. I called a tertiary care facility and said, would you please reassess, get a second opinion? And I'm happy to report that he had a lymphoma that was curable. So I didn't hear her words. I just listened to her body language. Okay? So that's the example I wanted to give you. And in closing, I would like to leave you with a phrase. The absence of fear is peace. Sat there, as you all were, blindly, not knowing what I was getting into. And so I hope I've distilled some of that fear, some of that anxiety, in order to give you some peace. I would encourage you to build upon your resilience, strive for balance in your life, remain connected, respect your time, do what is in best interest that's fair, dare to be different, be mindful and courageous. One of our traditions in the uniformed services is to give you a challenge coin when you've done something exceptional. Well, I think you've done something exceptional today. And I have minted a challenge coin for each and every one of you to depict the speech that I've given you today so that you could remember the MOU, to conserve your connections and respect your time. And I will be presenting that to you after our first salute. So congratulations. May you continue to develop as a person and now as an EVMS alumni and then now as a uniformed officer for the purpose of achieving your becoming a fearless leader. I wish you and every one of you much happiness, good health, and best luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Colonel Johnson, for your inspiring words. Makes me even more proud to be a graduate of this institution, all of your accomplishments and the wisdom that you shared with us today. Eastern Virginia Medical School is one of more than 100 medical schools around the country that has signed a pledge recognizing the sacrifice and commitment of our military service members, veterans, and their families. This pledge is a part of a comprehensive national initiative known as Joining Forces, launched by the White House in 2011 to improve the lives of military service members, veterans, and their families. EVMS is committed to integrating our mission in education, research, and clinical care to train our nation's physicians to meet the healthcare needs of the military and their families. We know that medical doctors can serve in a variety of roles and capacities in the United States Armed Forces. Generally, they're responsible for the overall health of military personnel and providing healthcare to the families and others in the military community. During combat, the medical corps officers oversee emergency medical management and casualties and make sure that military personnel are healthy and combat ready. Some of our EVMS medical graduates will serve at medical centers and bases across the country, and others will remain very close here at Portsmouth at the Naval Medical Center. We're very, very proud of our military medical students and their willingness to step up and serve today and throughout their future, the future care of patients, both military and civilian. At this point, I would like to invite Dr. Brooke Hooper to present our Military Medicine Award along with Dr. Richard Conran, Faculty Advisor for the Military Medicine Club.
While we applaud all of our military medical students, I'm very proud to recognize one in particular who was chosen as the recipient of this year's Military Medicine Award. The Military Medicine Award is presented to the graduating military medical student who has exemplified the highest degree of integrity, professionalism, and selfless service throughout his or her 4 years at EVMS. This student's dual commitment to outstanding performance in doctoring and military duties demonstrates great promise transitioning from EVMS student to United States military officer. It is our pleasure to bestow this award on Alexander McNally. Alex will begin his residency training in general surgery at Naval Medical Center, Portsmouth, and we are proud to present you this award.
Congratulations, Alex. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Dempsey to come to the podium and say a few words about the EVMS PA students who will be recognized today.
Good morning. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to participate in this great ceremony. And given this opportunity to also tell you a little bit about physician assistants in the military. 54 years ago, the first 3 physician assistants ever trained graduated from Duke University. All 3 of them were former Navy corpsmen whose training and experiences in the Navy were expanded at Duke to create a new type of healthcare provider. The military has embraced the role of PAs. Highly efficient teams of physicians and PAs can be found in most military medical settings. We have 5 PA graduates, all of whom will be entering the United States Navy soon after graduation. Their commissioning will occur in a couple of months after they've passed their boards and attended officer development school. So their participation today will look slightly different as they are not yet able to wear the uniform of a naval officer. They will have their future Navy rank and Medical Service Corps badge pinned on their white coats by a friend or family member, while the more traditional pinning ceremony will occur for those in uniform at a later date. They will all soon become important members of military medicine, collaborating with physicians, nurses, and corpsmen to provide care to military members and their dependents in a broad range of settings. PAs in the military are often found in primary care clinics providing care to active duty members, their dependents, and retirees, but they can also be found in hospitals, specialty clinics, and providing care in deployed environments. Their collaborative practice and role flexibility of PAs make them a valuable medical resource for commanders who must assemble teams of providers who can care for military personnel in a variety of settings and environments. I'm very proud of our PA students as they graduate from this program and begin a career in military medicine. They are among the best and the brightest of our students. I am confident that they will represent EVMS well as military medical providers and officers. Congratulations to you and to all of the graduates here today, and thank you for your past and future service.
Thank you, Dr. Dempsey. And at this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Brian Martin to make a few comments about our public health.
Thank you, Dr. Flinner, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. And it really is an honor and a privilege to be here before you and to celebrate your accomplishments and also to welcome you to the 1%. It's a great thing that you're doing to volunteer. I appreciate it very much, personally. The first recorded war was between two city-states in 2700 BC, Sumer and Elam in what's now present-day Iraq. And when those first armies met each other, they had a campaign to take over Mesopotamia. And what the leader of the Elam army, the king of Kish, knew then, and that what we know now, is that a healthy fighting force is absolutely required. And it's required in order to protect your territory. It's required in order to take additional territory or resources. And it's required to maintain peace. And today, the military and public health have something very important in common, and that is protecting the welfare of U.S. citizens. Both the services, the armed services, and public health do this every day, many, many times without our knowledge or without the public's knowledge. In today's pandemic environment, we see it much greater, and our students are able to not have to explain so much what they do with a Master of Public Health degree as students in the past have done. Public health refers to the art and science of preventing illness and disease and promoting the health of individuals and populations. The functions include provision of preventive health care services, such as immunizations and well visits, the conduct of surveillance to minimize the spread of contagious illness and disease, the development and delivery of health education, protecting the environment in which the population lives and works, and many other population health efforts. In the military, normal public health functions are expanded outside of the scope of traditional public health to include such issues as tropical disease, biological weapons threats, and managing illness and disease that is prevalent in countries outside the United States that we don't deal with here. As an outgrowth of protecting citizens, the U.S. military engages in several functions that are related to public health: health threat assessment and management, disease prevention and assurance that military personnel don't carry disease back to the U.S., emergency and disaster response and preparedness, disease tracking and outbreak investigation, environmental health engineering, and health education, just to name a few. A healthy fighting force is essential for the military to do its job, and we all benefit from the service that the men and women do. Today, we're recognizing 3 public health students who will serve in the U.S. Armed Forces, 2 who are here with us in person and 1 who's unable to participate today. These join their clinical counterparts across the branches in protecting the health of our warriors so that they, in turn, may protect us. In a few moments, these military students will be introduced individually. Much like the PA students Dr. Dempsey described, our students will also complete officer development school later this summer and will be formally commissioned at that time. Thank you to the public health students and for the important role you play in our nation's security and in our health. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. This time, with the graduates being commissioned today, please rise for the oath of office conducted by Colonel Johnson. I want to ask you to please remain standing until Dr. Johnson returns to her seat.
Raise your right hand, please. Okay, state your name. Have been appointed an officer in the service that you are going into of the United States. And as indicated in the above, in the grade of your grade, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will take this obligation freely, without any reservations or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter. Congratulations.
Thank you, Colonel Johnson, and students, you may be seated. So in a moment, I will ask our MD, PA, and public health graduates to stand at their seats by branch to be recognized as I call your names. Some of you will participate today in the pinning of your new rank. Immediately following the pinning of rank, you will witness some of our graduates participating in a time-honored military tradition called the First Salute. As each new officer joins the commissioned ranks, he or she is expected to receive and render countless salutes throughout their military career. But an officer only ever receives one first salute. It is therefore a tradition that the first salute be a significant and important milestone. The first salute is typically rendered by a more junior-ranking individual, yet at times a more senior-ranking officer will break protocol and render a first salute to the newly commissioned officers as well. We will call each student to stand at your seat for the pinning one at a time, along with their chosen family members or friends to assist with the pinning and first salute. As I call each graduate's name, would you please stand? For those participating in the pinning, you may begin when I call your name, and please remain standing until all of our graduates are finished and asked to be seated. Again, we'll be going by military branch, and we're going to start from the United States Army, and the MD student John Hardy being commissioned today as captain. On the screen behind me, participating virtually, MD student Jeremy Kernot being commissioned today as captain. Commissioned today as captain. Give another round of applause to all of our graduates in the United States Army. From the United States Navy, as I call your name, please stand to be recognized until I ask you to take your seats. If you are participating in the pinning, you may begin when I call the student's name. PA student Markel Adams will be commissioned later this summer as lieutenant junior grade. PA student Yolanda Johnson will be commissioned later this summer as lieutenant junior grade. PA student Matthew Sierra will be commissioned later this summer as lieutenant junior grade. PA student Katie Warren will be commissioned later this summer as lieutenant junior grade. PA student Hannah Whitesell will be commissioned later this summer as lieutenant junior grade. From the Public Health Program, Marquita Melvin, who will serve as Healthcare Administrator, will be commissioned later this summer as lieutenant junior grade. Next is Public Health student Timothy Newman, who was unable to participate today, who will serve as Healthcare Administrator and be commissioned as lieutenant junior grade later this summer. MD student Jessica Corder will be commissioned today as lieutenant. MD student Christian Go is being commissioned today as lieutenant. MD student Alice Kisteneff is being commissioned today as lieutenant. MD student Vaughn Land is being commissioned today as lieutenant. MD student Ethan McGann being commissioned today as lieutenant. MD student Alexander McNally being commissioned today as lieutenant. MD student Alexander Metzger being commissioned today as lieutenant. and Deputy Student Bradley Eulis being commissioned today as Lieutenant. Give a round of applause for all of our graduates in the United States Navy. You all may now be seated. And from the United States Air Force, we have one student. As I call your name, please stand for recognition. Public health student Brittany Furr, who will serve as healthcare administrator and be commissioned later this summer as second lieutenant. That concludes our recognition and pinnings. At this time, let's give a round of applause to all of our military graduates here today. Concludes our ceremony, and I'd like to just give a genuine thanks to all of our distinguished speakers who joined us here today and all the families, and my heartfelt congratulations to all of the students. For our graduates and guests here in person today, we would like to invite you to a reception that will be held outside. And for our viewing audience, thank you for joining us on this special occasion. On behalf of the President of the United States, a grateful nation, and EVMS, congratulations to you all, and thank you for your service.